Welcome to This Week in East Brunswick. Today we welcome a Civil War reenactor to the East Brunswick Senior Center for a presentation on the war for the Union. We head to Hammersholt Performing Arts Center for a special Parents University discussion on opiate addiction and how to talk with children and young adults about the danger of substance abuse. We visit Playhouse 22 and talk with the director about the production of the fan favorite Grease. Then a historian from the Louis Armstrong Museum visits the library for a special lecture on the influential jazz musician. And representatives from the New Jersey Folk Festival stop by the studio to discuss the upcoming festival that will be taking place at the end of April at Rutgers University. All this, plus we have information about upcoming library events taking place in April. So stay with us. This Week in East Brunswick starts now.
I am First Sergeant Company F of the 23rd New Jersey Volunteer Infantry Regiment. The East Brunswick Historical Society has invited me to make a presentation about the American Civil War. I like to do that in the first person, which is I assume a position of First Sergeant, and I speak as if I'm from 1862. So that's what men are having to face. And it's my job to whip them into shape so that they can face it with courage. And the way I do it is I teach them how to load this thing. And the first order to load is to come to the order. Come to the order, and we wait to command load in 9 times load. Bring the rifle out. If there's one thing that I'm going to ask you to remember today, is that people in the 19th century are not stupid. To the extent that they have a technology, they use it well. You'll notice I keep it away from my face. That's not an accident. You can't send soldiers out to fight the rebellion with their faces blown off, or their hands or their fingers blown off. And you're going to see that all throughout this demonstration. Now I'm counting off. This is number 1. Load in 9 times. The first command is load. So somebody needs to pick up in case I run off. The second command is handle cartridge. I'm going to reach around to this cartridge box right here on my hip, on a sling. It's very heavy. And I'm going to reach around and I'm going to carry the simulated tube of paper with 65 to 70 grains of black powder and one of those mini balls up to my mouth. That's number 2. Incidentally, these cartridges were made in the millions of numbers by women. There's a social revolution going on as the fighting is taking place. That's not well covered by research historians. It was an extremely devastating war in the middle period of American history because all of the casualties that were inflicted during the war were Americans, and there were great passions that were evolved during the war. When the northern people reacted to the firing of their flag, on their flag, in Charleston, South Carolina, they were enraged. It's almost impossible to describe the level of rage. And they came forward as volunteers to put down the rebellion and try to return home and restore the Union and make peace again. There were a lot of obstacles to that. Abraham Lincoln was the president, and he encountered many, many difficulties, particularly in the area of the military fortunes that the North had to endure. I've talked mostly about things I'm wearing: cartridge box, cap pouch, bayonet scabbard, gun belt. This is a special gun belt. Only sergeants can wear. The rest of them have a U.S. on it, very much like the box plate that I have here. Everybody see that box plate? Mm-hmm. U.S. What does that stand for? United States. That's what that stands for. Everyone that got one of these knew who he belonged to. If you happen to be on the other side of the fence, you might have CS on yours, or some state symbol like a star from Texas. Once in a while, I find one of my cousins is doing a Confederate impression, but we won't go into that. I have a couple of things here. Oh, I almost forgot. I have a canteen. Now, it might come as a surprise to you that I have water in this. Being an Irishman, you know. Generally speaking, boys are made up of a mess of 4 men. 4 men in a mess. There's 2 files, 1, 2, 1, 2, rear rank. One man carries half of a shelter hat, the other man carries the other half, the third man in the group carries a ground cover, and the fourth man carries the mess furniture, which is a pot or a pan or a boiler. Because what did Napoleon say? Army moves on its stomach. Oh, yes, that's right. So what I'm probably going to be carrying is my ration for the 4 men of vinegar or molasses, or one of my other mates will have that. Why? Because what I'm going to show you, we eat 3 times a day for many years.
I think
Many years.
the interest that I have is that there's a lot of mythology about the American Civil War, which was called the Rebellion, and everyone takes away from that mythology a firm belief that their version of history is the only version. It was a complex period of time and had, as I mentioned, aroused tremendous passions. And when it was all over, slavery in this country was abolished, but many other social problems began. Delivering presentations like this for the last 15 to 20 years, I find that many people have a grassroots interest that is not being satisfied, so they come to historic presentations like this and events and sites, and they ask people who represent this period to explain to them why this is such a difficult period to understand. So I try to do the best I can. I've been reading in this topic since I was 12 years old at the 100th anniversary of the Civil War, and it's just never failed to keep my interest, and I'd like to share that with people.
Tonight we're here at the Hammersholt Performing Arts Center for the final installment of Parent University. Tonight's topic is on opiate addiction and where we're moving forward. We have a guest speaker this evening by the name of Rory Wells. He's the Community Relations Officer for the Ocean County Prosecutor's Office, where he is an assistant prosecutor in the Prosecutor's Office Division. Tonight, the event obviously was sponsored by the East Brunswick Board of Education in conjunction with the East Brunswick Municipal Alliance. And then on top of that, it was sponsored by the East Brunswick Education Association. Really, it was a message of hope. It was a discussion to parents about the current epidemic that we're having with opiate abuse or the problem we're facing with addiction. But it was also a message to parents of trying to really get across to your kids and how to speak to your kids about drug and alcohol abuse or any other drugs that they're using, and where to move forward from here, how we can best not only go back to our families and address the problem, but really have a conversation with other people in the community to help resolve this problem throughout the state of New Jersey.
As I stand here tonight, I want you to know one thing. Now that the problem is getting the attention that it deserves, we still have not hit the high point. It has not peaked. We are increasing, which means it's going to get worse before it gets better. And I do a lot of training and talking to police officers about this matter and about a number of different things. And I tell them, when you're working with kids in the school, when you're doing things with your program, when you're working on an alliance, you can't get cynical. You have to understand, you're going to hear, it's getting worse, it's getting worse, it's getting worse, and you're going to feel like nothing I'm doing is working. But that is not the truth. Because when we come to events like this is a prevention event, right? I'm giving you information and education so you can understand what's going on. There's vendors, there's tables out there. We're fighting the fight for the year after the year after the year. This is 5 years from now, right? So if you have a middle school student, we want them to make the wise decision when they're a 12th grader or their first year in college, when their roommate comes in and says, hey, I got some weed, do you want to smoke, right? It's not necessarily the fight for today. And we are fighting today's fight. But I want you to understand this is a long-term fight. You can't give up, and you cannot be cynical, because it's going to get worse before it gets better.
There are a number of resources with regard to addiction, information about drugs or alcohol, different treatment centers, providers, resources for family counseling, different things like that. Throughout the state, you can go to local state resources. You can go to your county. There's usually a National Coalition for Alcohol and Drug Dependency in Middlesex County that is called Wellspring. On our East Brunswick site, township site, you have the Municipal Alliance, which has a number of resources. And then you also, on the East Brunswick Police Department website, we also have some resources there as well, and a link back to the Municipal Alliance webpage. The benefit to people coming out tonight was really to have a conversation about the current epidemic in the state and what we're facing with regard to opiate abuse, and that could be ranging from pills all the way up into heroin, obviously, and where heroin is going towards the mix of fentanyl and the carfentanil, which is being laced now with heroin and is the cause of a lot of overdoses. We're talking about Narcan tonight, so people are getting a lot of different resources that they can get, but not only resources about the drugs themselves, but a lot of it was about parenting and how to approach the topic with your child or your loved one, whoever it is, on an age-appropriate level. So if you've missed this event, this Parent University, and weren't able to get here, we know we've rescheduled. We will have this talk in its entirety.
Yes, I'm right inside. That don't help my case. Birds I can't hide. What is in my face? My dirty body, that does I say.
At the East Brunswick Public Library on February 28, 2017, Ricky Riccardi, archivist at the Louis Armstrong House Museum in Corona, Queens, New York, as well as the author of What a Wonderful World, The Magic of Louis Armstrong's Later Years, performed a seminar prominently displaying the unheralded second half of Satchmo's career in music.
So tonight, this kind of presentation is going to be most of the themes of the book, most of the themes that kind of hit me when I was a kid, and I've been working to fight my entire life. But I can sit here and talk about this stuff all day, or I can show you the man in action. Because once you see Louis Armstrong, there's no arguing. He's the greatest human being who ever was born. I might be a little biased. But I do want to say, before we get too carried away, there's nothing I can say to disparage young Louis Armstrong. It is undeniable. It's a subject for an entirely different lecture that maybe I'll do in the future. But in the 1920s, I mean, in the history of American popular music, you can find a million great instrumentalists, you can find a million great singers. Louis Armstrong is the only person you can find who completely changed the way people played instrumental music, and he completely changed the way people sang. Now, these are Armstrong's most popular years, without a doubt. He's on TV, he's on Ed Sullivan, he's making hit records, he's touring the world, he's in movies. But these are the years where the critics get out the knives, where the young musicians stop paying attention. And the whole reason I had to write a book like this is because of this kind of stuff. So where we're going to go from here is we're going to address some of what I call the myths that surrounded Armstrong, the stuff that haunted his reputation. His fourth wife, Lucille, they married in October 1942. Their honeymoon was 6 straight months of one-nighters. Different city, every night, living out of a suitcase. She said, this is not what I signed up for. So Lucille spent part of her upbringing in Corona. And so she called some of the neighbors that she was still friendly with, and they said, is there anything available? And there was a house for sale. And so she actually purchased the house without even telling him. She put the down payment down, she fixed it up, and Armstrong was out on tour. He said, all right, he calls her up, I'm coming home, I'll meet you at the apartment. She said, oh, no, you meet me at the house. What do you mean house? And so she gives him the address, and so he gives the address to the cab driver. The cab driver takes him to Corona. But to him, growing up in poverty, growing up with an outhouse in the backyard, never having a real house, it was more than he bargained for. So he actually tells the cab driver, oh man, quit kidding and take me to the address I wrote down. And the cab driver says, this is the place. So Armstrong says, leave the engine running. He gets out, he walks up the steps, Lucille opens the door, she's wearing her nightgown, she says, welcome home, and that is it.
I hear babies cry, I watch them grow, they'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, yeah.
My name is Christian Carrara. I'm the director of Grease here at Playhouse 22. It's just a throwback to the 50s, throwback to the movie, a very nostalgic feel. The dancing is incredible, the cast is incredible. It's very high energy, a lot of fun in this show.
Go Grease Lightning, you're burning up the quarter mile. Grease Lightning, go Grease Lightning. Yeah, Grease Lightning, you're coasting through the heat lab tile. Grease Lightning, go Grease Lightning. You are supreme, the chicks will dream about Grease Lightning.
The cast and crew for the show, they're extremely talented, very easy people to work with. They pick up things very fast, and I don't really have any problems with them, and nor should I.
That shape of 'cause I need a man, and my heart is set on you. You better shape up, you better understand. To my heart it must be true. Nothing left for me to do. You're the one that I want. You are the one I want. Woo-hoo-hoo, honey, the one that I want. You are the one I want. Woo-hoo-hoo, honey, the one that I want. You are the one I want. Woo-hoo-hoo, the one I need. Oh yes, indeed.
The ticket sales for this show have been very positive, and a lot of the shows are sold out or have very few tickets left. We are pretty much expecting a sold out run. To everybody out there, if you haven't got your tickets yet, get them now because they're going fast, and come and enjoy Grease. You'll definitely leave singing along, singing the tunes that you know so well.
I'm Angus Chris Gillespie, your host here on East Brunswick Television. We're going to talk about an upcoming event, the New Jersey Folk Festival. Mike, when is it going to take place?
The New Jersey Folk Festival is going to be taking place on April 29th this year between the hours of 10 to 6 on the grounds of the Eagleton Institute on the Rutgers, New Brunswick campus.
And that's the Douglas campus?
It is the Douglas campus, and it's going to be taking place rain or shine.
And what can we expect?
Oh, wow, you could expect a lot at this year's Folk Festival. We have 3 main stages this year. We have the Skyland stage, which is our main stage. We have the Pineland stage, which is our more personal stage, and we have the Shore stage, which is our jamming stage.
Sounds exciting.
It is.
Now, Shirley, I understand the theme for 2017 is Turkish traditions.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about how Turkey will be spotlighted?
So New Jersey is a home of really diverse communities, and Turkey is one of them. So this year we decided to focus on Turkey. And with the help of our sponsors and partners, we identified dancers, craftsmen, and musicians. And this year we'll focus on a Turkish dance troupe from Patterson, the Whirling Dervish dance performance. And in terms of crafts, we feature the paper marbling called Erbu. We will feature Turkish calligraphy, which people can write their names in Turkish if they want. And it is an educational event for all ages and to promote a more harmonious society.
That's very interesting. The Ebru, that's when you take a piece of paper, you put it on a pan of water with oil on the top, it comes out in a pattern, right?
Yes.
And the Turkish calligraphy, perhaps people can get their name rendered in calligraphy.
Of course, yes.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. Mike, I understand in addition to having the Turkish community represented, you also are going to have something with the Nanticoke Lenni Lenape Indians?
Yes, actually.
Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, so the Lenni Lenape Indians are going to be represented this year by the Reverend John Norwood and many, many members of his tribe. They're going to be coming here to the New Jersey Folk Festival on Saturday, April 29th, and they're going to be doing a mini powwow, which is a religious social gathering where they're going to be in very fancy regalia, and they're going to have a central drum, and they're going to be doing a lot of very interesting things. But if you want to know more, you're going to have to check out our website at njfolkfest.org and come visit us on Festival Day.
Yeah, I understand there's actually 3 state-recognized tribes, and the Nanticoke Lenni Lenape are one of them.
Yep, they're the northernmost tribe.
Okay. Well, I also, Shirley, I understand you have something, a yurt or a ger. Can you tell us what that's all about?
So that would be featured at our seminar tent. A yurt is a traditional kind of dome-shaped tent that's covered with felt skin, animal skin and felt. And it will feature panel discussions facilitated by James Deutsch, and will feature folklore of truckers, the New Jersey Folklore Society, and endangered languages. So these are panels that we want people to be engaged. We want them to be in discussions or debates or whatever. It's really a place for everyone.
What are James Deutsch's qualifications to do this?
He is a professor at Rutgers, so he is very educated on this entire topic.
Mike, what's your position with the Folk Festival this year?
I was on the staff for 3 years already. My first year was Gateway, my second one was Skylands, and now this year I felt like getting a more personal touch and going with the Heritage area. With the Heritage area, I work a lot more closely with artists that work with their hands, all right? I've been working very closely with Jackie Wood out of the Tuckerton Seaport, and we've been trying to find a lot of excellent Turkish artists, craftsmen to come with us to the New Jersey Folk Festival this year. And if you want to find out more, you can go to our website at njfolkfest.org.
Now, Shirley, what's your job this year?
So this is my first year on staff, and I'll be the public relations coordinator. I schedule a lot of the interviews like these, and I also make press releases and help along any of the teams if they need help.
Very interesting. So do you have an opportunity to move on with the Folk Festival?
Of course. Even though I've been on staff for such a short time, I kind of find that our team became like a really big family. We kind of just goof around sometimes, but it's amazing to see how a group of like Rutgers students could just produce such a great festival for everyone.
And Mike, give us once again the basics.
I would love to. All right, guys. So the New Jersey Folk Festival is going to be taking place on the last Saturday in April, which is going to be April 29th. It's going to be between the hours of 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., rain or shine, so bring an umbrella just in case. We're going to be having a lot of excellent food vendors. We're going to be having a lot of crafters. It's also going to be a family event where we have a children's area, so bring your whole family, and we can't wait to see you there.
Well, thank you guys for coming out and explaining the Folk Festival.
All right, you're very welcome.
Hi, I'm Melissa Hosick, and I invite you to attend one of our upcoming April events for adults at the East Brunswick Public Library. All are open to the public. On Wednesday, April 12th at 5 p.m., medical staff from St. Peter's Health Systems will offer free osteoporosis screenings. On Wednesday, April 19th at 6:30 p.m., join the library and the East Brunswick Human Relations Council for a screening of the documentary 13th about the criminalization of African Americans and the U.S. prison boom. On Wednesday, April 26th at 7 p.m., join us for the ongoing Option Green lecture series with a discussion of how to use hydroponics at home with Stephanie Aaliyah. On Sunday, April 30th at 2:30 p.m., join us for a concert and presentation on the Jews of Belarus and the Baltic states before the Holocaust, produced by Dr. Michael Kessler. To learn about our other events, such as film festivals, health workshops, becoming debt-free, and more, visit ebpl.org/calendar or follow us on social media. We hope to see you in April.
Step into a divine land, full of ancient wisdom and timeless beauty, where heroes become legends, goodness always prevails, and the door to the Great Way is open. A lost culture returns. Shen Yun. Returning to NJ Pack, May 3rd through 7th. Tickets at shenyun.com/NJ.